Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. So right now the date is Thursday, October 26th, 2017, and the current time is approximately, yes I am reading that right, 10:40 p.m. So I have received a lot of beautiful compliments and comments on my deck interview spread videos. So with that, I wanted to do a deck interview spread video. I will have the link to Little Red Tarot's blog, who has Beth as the living blog goddess of this blog, so that you can do your own deck interview spread. This is not a tag, just so you know. But I've received a lot of beautiful compliments about this, and I want to keep doing this. So, and this time I'm starting with an oracle card deck. I am starting with the Angel Insight Pack. This was created by Christine Astel and illustrated by Renee Milo. I've had this deck for so many years. There was a story behind it, but anyway. So I have already shuffled the deck. I've already cut the deck. So there are 6 cards in this spread, and I'm going to go through each of them individually, tell you what I receive from them intuitively, and then we're going to go from there. Okay. So, tell me about yourself, Angel Insight Pack. What is your most important characteristic? Wow. Okay, so I have... Oh, this is so embarrassing. Okay, so you know what? I don't need to be embarrassed just because I don't know what a word means. The word is transience, and in this particular oracle card deck, there are 4 suits, and this suit with the green border corresponds to Archangel Raphael, who is my beautiful and beloved Archangel Raphael, the divine healer of the archangels. So what do you want to tell me about the word transience? Transient, moving. Okay, got it. So what I'm getting intuitively from this card is that one of the qualities of the Angel Insight Pack is to help me move forward and help the clients who will receive readings from this deck move forward as well. Okay. What are your strengths as a deck? Okay, I have thoroughly shuffled this deck. And here is another card that corresponds to Archangel Raphael, and it is connections. So, one of the strengths of this oracle card deck, pardon me, is to help people be more connected with themselves, help people be more connected with others, and of course, help people be more connected with the angelic realms. I love how this angel has her feet dipped in this celestial pool. So it really is about connecting emotions. The water is symbolic of emotions, so it's about connecting the client to their own emotions. It's about the client connecting to the emotions of others, helping themselves connect to other people emotionally, helping other people connect to them emotionally, and of course connect emotionally with the angelic realms. What are your limits as a deck? I promise you, YouTube, I thoroughly shuffled this deck. So it is another card in the Archangel Raphael suit, and it is the transformation card, and I cannot help but be fascinated by this, and I will tell you why. 3 reasons. Number 1, in several videos and on my Instagram account and on my WordPress blog that's professional and metaphysically oriented, This Is Who I Am, I have talked about how after the Stevie Chrysanthemum made me this phenomenal candle when she worked at Catland, that had this glorious, gorgeous butterfly on the candle, how butterflies have been chasing after me. Not literally, but energetically. And of course, in the Native American tradition, The butterfly is the symbol of transformation. It is the medicine of transformation. I am wearing a pendant that depicts a scarab. In the ancient Egyptian cosmology, the scarab represents transformation, and right now the sun is in Scorpio. In Western astrology, the Scorpio represents transformation. So, what I'm getting from this card is that this is not the savior. In other words, just because I give somebody a reading with this deck, or I give myself a reading with this deck, this doesn't mean I'm saved forever and ever. It just means that here is a starting point. Here is an ongoing starting point. It's like, okay, we're going to start from X. We're going to start from A. We're going to start from 1. We're going to start from 10. We're going to start from 100. It is an ongoing starting point. Wow. And for the record, I don't remember exactly how many cards are in this deck, but I believe it's 52. So 13 cards for Archangel Raphael, 13 for Archangel Mihaela, 13 for Uriel, and 13 for Gabriel. Wow, I'm just blown away by this. I love how decks surprise me. I really do, because I've been giving readings professionally for about 25 years, and it would be so easy for me to become jaded with regards to using decks, whether it's tarot decks or oracle card decks. So I love how the universe, or the divine, via divination, surprises me. Question number 4, what are you here to teach me? Okay, I had to look. It's not an Archangel Raphael card. Before I turn over the card, I'm going to tell you, I had a feeling this was going to happen. So when I was shuffling the deck before the reading began, and before the camera turned on, one of the cards jumped out. And yes, this was the card. And it's Grace. Now, I can't help but laugh, and I'll tell you why. So, somebody that I'm long overdue to talk about again and review on both of my WordPress blogs is Reverend Yolanda. Reverend Yolanda is a singer-songwriter who is also an ordained interfaith minister, a certified Course in Miracles teacher, and she is just brilliant. I love her, I love her, I love her. And her official name is now Reverend Yolanda Roger Anthony Mapes. She is a guy in a dress, but she is so much more than that. And she will respond to Yolanda whether she's wearing a dress or not. So I had the honor and pleasure of seeing her perform this past Sunday at the Sidewalk Cafe on Avenue A. And one of the things that she said is that one of the terms that she uses for the divine, for goddess, for goddess, for God, for goddess, for infinite radiant is grace. And she invited all the attendees of the show to look for a photograph on their smartphones of Deborah Messing, who portrays Grace on Will and Grace. I still think they need to call the show by its real name, Karen and Jack, but they didn't ask me. They didn't ask me twice, by the way. I guess Will and Grace sounds better. Karen and Jack would be more accurate, but they didn't consult me. So, and I forgot the question. I went off in a totally different direction. Okay. What are you here to teach me? Grace. You're here to teach me grace. You're here to teach me to have fun and to be lighthearted and to be happy and vibrant. Okay. It's amazing how sometimes I just go all the way around. It's like I could have been here, but I needed to go over here and then here. But that's okay. I love that about me. And so does the voice that likes me. How can I best learn and collaborate with you? Oh, I love this card. I love the word inspiration. And I love the etymology of the word inspiration. Spiri is Greek. It means breath. I used to have a cat named Spiritea. Her name meant wind of the goddess, because Tea means goddess in Greek, and Spiri means wind or breath. So Spiritea's name literally meant breath of the goddess. And it is no coincidence that here are now 2 cards that correspond to Archangel Gabriel. Mercury and the Moon. There's a definite theme here. Okay, so how can I best learn and collaborate with you? By reminding you to breathe in, to breathe out, to have your whole body breathe, not just your heart and your lungs, not just your stomach, but your hands, your feet, your genitals, your mind, your eyes, your major chakras, your minor chakras. What is the potential outcome of our working relationship? I cannot make this stuff up. So I mentioned earlier that the borders, the green bordered cards correspond to Archangel Raphael, the red bordered cards correspond to Archangel Uriel, the blue ones to Archangel Mihaela, and the white ones to Archangel Gabriel. Now, here is what's interesting about this card. And I'm really not surprised this card came out, and I'll tell you why. So my personal goddess is Osset. She is the ancient Egyptian goddess more commonly known as Isis. And whenever I use an oracle card deck, the first thing that I do is I look for the card that is energetically representative or resonant or radiant of the High Priestess card's energies. So for me, the High Priestess is represented by this card in this oracle card deck, in this divination deck, because they are the lunar colors. Gabrielle is astrologically aligned with the moon. The High Priestess card is astrologically aligned with the moon. There's a full moon in the background. You have all these lunar colors. You have this midnight blue, almost indigo purple sky. Very lunar, very High Priestess, very Archangel Gabriel. You have the purple sash. So it's very lunar to me. It's very High Priestessy, if you will. And I love that. And this is on all the cards. But if you hold it up to a certain angle, and I'm going to make sure my audiovisual person can get this, or try to get this, you see the silver sparklings? They don't see it? Damn. It looks pretty, by the way. Really pretty. So, it just blows my mind. And for me, this is a very clear-cut message about working more with Archangel Raphael, who is the divine healer of the archangels, and working more with Archangel Gabriel, who is the divine messenger, the divine communicator of the archangels. I also love the fact that Archangel Raphael is wonderful for anybody who wants to have a career in healing, whether it's energy healing, whether it's traditional medicine, whether it's alternative medicine. And Archangel Gabriel has a strong affinity with artists and people that are creative. I remember years ago, I had the honor and pleasure of giving a reading and an interview to a client who was a writer, and he had commissioned an artist to illustrate the cover of his book with an image of Archangel Gabriel. And I was like, here is a writer commissioning an artist for an image of Archangel Gabriel. I mean, it just like, you could not get any more. I am the patron or matron archangel of artists and writers and creative people than that. So, and I'm also looking at this from a color perspective. Like, these are the colors that I need to work with more, that I need to use more, green and white. And, as I am wont to do, the final message card, which is the bottommost card, is, and no, it is not a card from the Archangel Raphael suit, nor is it a card from the Archangel Gabriel suit. It is a card, of course, from the Archangel Mihaela suit, and it is freedom. And I'm gonna just see one more time if maybe we can get the silver. Really? It's not showing up? And you spent so much money on this camera, I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm being a little shady, but okay. So, what I'm getting from this is, I'm getting several things actually. Number one, I'm remembering that Archangel Mihaela is traditionally depicted on the temperance card of the Sacred Tarot, which corresponds astrologically with the sun sign Sagittarius. If there is any sign of the zodiac that corresponds to freedom or that represents freedom, it is most certainly Sagittarius. So I'm being reminded that I have the right to be free. I have the right to freely express myself. I have the right to live my life freely, with no inhibitions, with no reservations, with no fear, with no hindrances of any kind. That's number one. Number two, I'm getting that whenever I feel stuck, or whenever I feel like I'm not freely expressing myself, I'm not self-expressed, or I'm not allowing myself to become unstuck, I can go to this deck and say, I'm stuck. How can I get unstuck? Or where do I need to go to start being unstuck? And I love the fact that there's a cage. And it reminds me of this, there used to be this restaurant in the Greenwich Village district of Manhattan in New York City. And on the right side, facing the restaurant on the right side of the door, there was this huge cage. And it was like a gilded cage, and there was a small table inside with 2 chairs. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care if that cage door is open, I'm not gonna sit in there. And I mean, every time I pass by, I'd always see somebody sitting in there. I'm like, You know, I mean, I'm sure they thought it was a novelty and thought it was fun and cute and whatever, but a cage is a cage, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how pretty it looks, I don't care if the gate is open, a cage is a cage is a cage. Mi café bustero, you know I love this. The other thing that I'm getting from this card is that I always need to remember that freedom is my divine birthright. And even though I don't consider him my personal or my primary archangel, Mihaela is a very prominent archangel in Latin American culture. Growing up, it was not uncommon for me to see an image, and this is probably one of the most iconic images of Archangel Mihaela vanquishing the demon. And this was above the door on the inside of my apartment growing up. And you know, whenever I would visit other people's homes, especially if they were also Latin Americans, like me, I would notice the same thing. Which reminds me, I need to finally get that from my door. Because you know what, a lot of Latinos live in my area. And it makes sense for me to have like that. I can put the Bagua mirror someplace else, and that's fine. But I'm being reminded that freedom is my divine birthright, and freedom is my is an integral part of my natural state of being. So being happy, being vibrant, being light, and being free. Those are all an integral part of my natural state of being. I want to look at these cards a little bit more to see if there's anything else. And I love this. I love this whole thing, you know. And these cards, they're reminding me, you know, and I think that's one of the best things that one can experience with a reading. It's like, yes, I mean, it's nice and it is important when a client has a reading and the reader tells the client something he or she didn't know or they didn't know before. That's all well and good, and that is an important thing. I always feel that I am tuning in correctly and doing my job correctly if I'm telling the client something that he or she or they already know. Because if I've never met you before and I'm telling you something that only you would know, then I must be good. And that to me is a validation. It's like, you know what, you're not crazy, number one, and no, you're not imagining things. This is something you need to pay attention to. Why else would this total stranger that you've never met before, that you've never heard of before, tell you this on this day, at this time, in this place, etc.? So yeah, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in leaving itches unscratched either, which is why I'm scratching my foot. Anyway, but I do love this deck. I'm enjoying reconnecting with this deck. This is one of the decks that I'm using for daily draws during this move. And I've had this deck for so many years, and it's just so funny how now all of a sudden it's like it's coming back, and it's like, okay. But yeah, I really love working with this deck. And I love the energy, and the imagery is just gorgeous. You know, I used to never be a big fan of like foil stuff. And they really can't see the foil? Okay. Okay, they can't see the foil? YouTube, I'm so sorry. I want you to see the foil, and I want you to see the foil. You're not going to see the foil, so I do apologize. So that was my deck interview spread with the Angel Insight Pack. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey. I really appreciate it. If you have not already scheduled a reading with me, I absolutely invite you to do so. If you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I invite you to do that as well. And make sure that you click or tap the notification bell. That way you will be notified as to when I upload a new video. Thank you very much, many blessings, and have a great night.